Salam, hər vaxtınız xeyirli olsun. Mən Mingəcevir Dövlət Universitetinin dosenti Mingəcevir Mirsəfər qızı. Fənnimiz ingilis dilində dərslərin planlaşdırılması və qiymətləndirilməsi metodikası adlanır. Mövzumuz isə dərsin quruluşudur. Good day, dear students. I'm Mingəcevir. Subject, methodology of planning and assessment of the English lessons. And the theme of our today's lesson is structure the lesson. Aim of our today's lesson is students will get some ideas about the 5 parts of an effective lesson. Objectives. By the end of the lesson, students will have become more aware of the 5 parts of an effective lesson, ways to improve a lesson plan, and designing the lesson. So, the title of our today's lesson, Structure the Lesson. A language lesson should include a variety of activities that combine different types of language input and output. Learners at all proficiency levels benefit from such variety. Research has shown that it's more motivating and is more likely to result in effective language learning. Effective lesson has 5 parts: preparation, presentation, practice, evaluation, and expansion. The 5 parts of a lesson may all take place in one class session or may extend over multiple sessions, depending on the nature of the topic and the activities. The lesson plan should outline who will do what in each part of the lesson. The time allotted for preparation, presentation, and evaluation activities should be no more than 8 or 10 minutes each. But communication practice activities may run a little longer. So let's begin with the first part of the lesson, preparation part. As the class begins, give students a broad outline of the day's goals and activities so they know what to expect. Help them focus by eliciting the existing knowledge of the day's topics. Use discussion or homework review to elicit knowledge related to the grammar and language use points to be covered. Use comparison with the native language to elicit strategies that students may already be using. Use discussion of what students do or like to do to elicit their knowledge of the topic they will address in communication activities. The next part of the lesson is presentation or modeling. Move from preparation into presentation of the linguistic and topical content of the lesson and the relevant learning strategies. Present the strategy first if it will help students absorb the lesson content. Presentation provides the language input that gives students the foundation for their knowledge of the language. Input comes from the instructor and from course textbooks. Language textbooks designed for students usually provide input only in the form of examples. Explanations and instructions are written only in English. To increase the amount of input that students receive in the target language, instructors should use it as much as possible for all classroom communication purposes. An important part of the presentation is structured output, in which students practice the form that the instructor has presented. In structured output, accuracy of performance is very important. Structured output is designed to make learners comfortable producing specific language items recently introduced. Structured output is a type of communication that is found only in language classrooms because production is limited to pre-selected items. Structured output is not truly communicative. And the next one is practice. In this part of the lesson, the focus shifts from the instructor as presenter to the students as completers of a designated task. Students work in pairs or small groups on a topic-based task with a specific outcome. Completion of the task may require the bridging of an information gap. The instructor observes the groups and acts as a resource when students have questions that they can't resolve themselves. In their work together, students move from structured output to communicative output, in which the main purpose is to complete the communication task. Language becomes a tool rather than end in itself. Learners have to use any or all of the language that they know along with varied communication strategies. The criterion of success is whether the learner gets the message across. Accuracy is not a consideration unless the lack of it interferes with the message. Activities for the practice segment of the lesson may come from a textbook or be designed by the instructor. The next part of our lesson is evaluation. When all students have completed the communication practice task, reconvene the class as a group to recap the lesson. Ask students to give examples of how they used the linguistic content and learning or communication strategies to carry out the communication task. Evaluation is useful for 4 reasons. It reinforces the material that was presented earlier in the lesson. It provides an opportunity for students to raise questions of usage and style. It enables the instructor to monitor individual student comprehension and learning. It provides closure to the lesson. And the last part of the lesson is expansion. Expansion activities allow students to apply the knowledge they've gained in the classroom to situations outside it. Expansion activities include out-of-class observation assignments in which the instructor asks students to find examples of something or to use a strategy and then report back. So, goodbye. Thank you for your attention.